that's part of what I'm going to do. Is we have times in our lives that are just exquisite moments, just incredible moments. And this is one of those moments. And I want to remember it. I picture my pretty little baby in the sunshine. You got the sun blowing in your hair. There you go.
Okay.
Hmm?
Enough of that.
Enough of that. So you can't put your fingers in. It's kind of nice, actually.
Not too bad.
Not bad. Lots of little knitters, that's for sure. Okay. Brought to you by Janae Cook, Taylor Realty Group, 501-617-9747. Don't delay, call Janae. Brought to you by M-Force Capital, Joanna Horton at M-Force Capital, 501-922-9259. Your local professional in Hot Springs Village. Dennis and Diana's trip to Lake Winona Boat Ranch. That's right, the boat launch. If you'll notice from the pictures that we're seeing here, and we're going to have to do a little bit different deviation than what the map calls for. For some reason, Mr. Google didn't want to go the exact path we went, but I'll explain it. It'll make sense. Look at all the beauty of Lake Ouachita in the upper left-hand corner, and then the villages right here beside it, the village. And actually, if you look very closely, Lake Winona is pretty much basically due north of Grenada, maybe 10, 14 miles, something like that. The colors, the lakes, all the beauty of Hot Springs Village. And we're going to start at the Shack, one of my favorite burger places in Hot Springs. We basically go up Highway 7 until we turn onto, in this case, we turned at Mountain Thyme, B&B, and we actually went up to the Angling Pinnacle. We drove past the Angling Pinnacle. I didn't even know where we were. Then we went down past Bread Creek, Horsley Beach, went past the Alum Fork, which comes out of the back of Lake Winona, and then we turn on to NF 114. That's the key. Turn on to NF 114 and then basically come right down to the Lake Winona access area. You can tell this has been a long used thing. The sign that's there is completely faded. Looks like it was put up in the 50s or 60s. The lake would have been built in the 20s or 30s with the WPA and the CCC. And then once again, as we mentioned, there is a tube that goes 35 miles to Reservoir Road in Little Rock and drops off. And you can see Little Rock and all the things in the distance. A beautiful place that we live, an absolutely beautiful place we live. Here we leave Jesseville and we're heading back that way, about 300 times or three times speed. Up here on the left-hand side is the National Forest office. I strongly encourage, right there on the left, I strongly encourage you, go by there and take a visit. Those are really sweet people. They've got a lot of resources. If you have kids or grandchildren and you know that you want to expose them to the world outside the city, then you really want to go by there. They've got a lot of educational material that's just absolutely exceptional. We're going, obviously, a lot faster than usual. We're coming up to Main Hall Road, which is right there, left and right. That's Weyerhaeuser's main access road. They call it Weyerhaeuser 24,000. That road will take you on the south side of Lake Winona. And the west side, I don't know. We hadn't been there yet. It does go to the north side of Lake Ouachita. They've recently cleared this land on the left here. It's a pretty little area. I don't know why they cleared it, but I think they're going to try and run cattle, which it's kind of a tough go out here in this land. This land grows pine trees really well, but not a whole lot of other things. The geology here is actually called shattered chert with a lot of clay in it, and Typically, it's a little acidic. That's why pine trees love it. I mean, love it. Once again, this is Scenic Highway 7. You'll notice there's no billboards. And by the way, down in Hot Springs Village in the Walmart area, there are some billboards. If any of those fail, this is the Lake Winona turn here that we wanted to turn on, the one by the Morning Time bed and breakfast. If there are any billboards, we had one for KVRE down by where they're building the new Primo water plant. Yeah. They had one down there that the high wind caught it and flipped it over and crashed it. Yeah, they can't rebuild it because it was grandfathered in. Now, you're thinking, well, we're in the National Forest. Not exactly yet. We're going to weave in and out of the National Forest here for the next 15, 20 minutes. Yes, even at this speed, or 10 or 15 minutes. Because there's private land on the right. The left-hand side was a warehouser. There's some potlatch land mixed in between there. I guess they did a swap. For those of you that don't know, many times, and this may not be the whole instance, but many times, a lot of this land was deeded over to timber companies because it was associated with a railway right-of-way. In other words, many times, if you built a railroad through the area, they would give you a 640 acres patch on each side, and I had to stop here and get my bearings to make sure I was still where I thought I was. But it would go 640, then they would skip a 640, and then another 640. They would do a square. Sometimes they would do 10 squares. Sometimes they would do 6,400 square or 6,400 acres at a time. All that happened when we built out the new Louisiana Purchase, which was actually marked from Marvel, Arkansas, roughly. And the song "Starting Here, Starting Now" refers to that because they actually started that point and went westward from there. They didn't actually start at the Mississippi. They started just a little bit west of Helena in a little place called Marvel, Arkansas, because they knew that was the westernmost point of the Mississippi. And then they could mark everything off from there. Some of this on the left-hand side is the National Forest. Some of it's still private timberland. But it's kind of one thing and then another. The timberland, when they come back, they may plant only pines. They typically will plant only pines, but they're in it for 15, 20, 30 years to get all those pine trees out of there. The National Forest these guys, they have a tough job, and I think they do it well. They actually are charged with using the properties for the benefit of all patrons. And in other words, recreation gets to use it. We get to turn a profit with all the timber that we sell. Nature gets to turn at it. The hunters get to use it. It's managed for the betterment of all, and I think overall they do a pretty good job. It's a difficult thing to do. If you are so interested, if you want to dig a little deeper, I'll be happy to tell you that the National Forest Service has to make a plan and file a plan, and they have to have public discussions on that plan. And they actually used to fund the debate of the plan. They used to buy people computers and help them learn how to analyze what would be best for the area and then debate it. So it's not like they work in an echo chamber that they only hear themselves. No, they really do work with other people. Now, we're getting ready here in just a minute. We'll be turning onto national forest land, and you'll see, because there's very little clear cut anywhere, and actually, I guess more so than private land, because this is a mixture of private and public land. If we could look just to the left right now, there is land that is just timberland and whatever, but just back behind that, maybe a half mile to a mile, is the National Forest, because we're running parallel to it. We're going pretty much east and west, although it looks pretty curvy, doesn't it? We're basically going east and west on the southern side of the Lake Winona Trail. And actually, we're essentially going hard east right now. There is the National Forest in the distance. That's the little ridgeway that has the Rattle Timber Ridge. That's where the National Forest Trail goes along that ridge, and it actually comes out near Iron Springs over just north of Jesseville. Had we stowed on Highway 7, we would have ran right past it. Beautiful, beautiful country, beautiful day. This was just exceptional. This was September the 21st, about 2:30 at this time. Really beautiful. Riding with my lovely wife, who's a companion you could only dream of. She's funny, she's witty, she's beautiful, she's always prepared. She makes a whale of a ham sandwich. I'm telling you, you've seen our ham sandwiches. We do eat out quite a lot, but when she makes us a sandwich, yep, got to turn left here, Denny Ray, just checking. Yep. And there's a little sign here. It's kind of roughed up, but it says Lake Winona, a few miles. That is one of the National Forest signs. If you'll notice, what I was going to say is the National Forest guys, they may tend to use fire a little bit more than the private guys. On the right-hand side, you see these big, tall Arkansas pines that are just perfect in shape and size. On the left-hand side, there's a little scrub back and forth, and they do that on purpose. But on the right-hand side, where it's typically, if you look at the bottom of the trees, they've been kind of burned over. And unbeknownst to Diana and I, we're looking at, a lot of this is not mapped out very well at all. And I do mean at all. We keep rising and rising and rising. And right about here, right there, was Angling Point or Angling Pinnacle. We didn't know that. Had I known, we would have stopped and got out and put out the drone and flew around. But what I was getting at is you see the varying degrees of underbrush, and we think, well, underbrush, whatever. Well, that's food for deer, cover for rabbits, wolves, coyotes, apparently mountain lions, right? Who knew we had those bad boys roaming through town? We did, and I could kick myself, we did, I believe, film a bear around this time, but I didn't have the camera running at that time, and I felt like an absolute idiot. But we have seen bears out in this area altogether. Immediately to the north of this area, you're going to come right up to the the Flatside Wilderness area. And we're back on track now. We're back on FS 114 here. And this is pretty much just a standard drive from this way out. And just a little hint, if you wonder where you're at and is this a good road and are we lost or are we on the right side? If it is a broken down road with big potholes and washed out places, you're not on a main road. That's about as simple as I can make it for you. The main roads like NF 114 here, and I was just pausing to check something real quick, but NF 114, the National Forest guys travel this thing non-stop. I mean non-stop all the time. And when they do that, they make sure that these things are graded. There's plenty of gravel. They're not washed out. There's not potholes in the road. This is how the main logging trucks come in and go out of this 1.8 roughly million acres. Now, remind you, this area, as we talked about in one of the other shows, some of this area was never picked up to be privatized, I guess you would say. You could come out and claim your 640 acres, which is, a square mile, as we say. A square mile is 5,280 feet by 5,280 feet. It's a square mile. But you could come out and claim your square mile, and then if you homesteaded it enough and you had a good enough stand of food or timber or whatever you could do, you got to stay and claim that land as yours essentially for free. Now, the value of 640 acres these days, that's not insignificant. It's quite significant. The problem is that it would be hard in some of these areas, as they say, a hard scrabble life, because it's just so difficult to get the nutrients in the soil, to get the food out, to get to town, to ride the mule 15 miles to town, to pick up flour if you didn't grow something that year. We stopped right there and actually did some drone work. You'll see the drone work in just a minute that flies over, and what a beautiful area. Oh my goodness. But some of this land was never picked up. It was always, it's since the time of Louisiana Purchase, this land has had no other owners than the United States government. Let that sink in. Roughly 1.8 million acres. And it's easy to look at this and think, okay, this is just a huge block of reserved land. Careful there. Some places were significantly homesteaded that had areas down by the river or by a little delta or by a flat spot. And that made sense. That was just complete logic that you would do something in a place like that, because that would make sense. Well, those places were able to be grandfathered in when they came back in and made the National Forest and formed the National Forest. You know, they look at it from their viewpoint. We've got all this land that we've let out to be homesteaded, and nobody's claiming it, And some have claimed it, and then they couldn't keep it because the land was so poor in some places. Now, once again, it grows trees great. Row crops, cattle, not without assistance. You know what I mean? The place we drove by earlier on Highway 7 where I said, I don't know if that was a good idea, clearing that land to run cattle. That man will be adding nutrients to that soil till the day he dies. I promise. I promise you. It's just an interesting dilemma. But I mean, I think the government made a great idea here to make this a beautiful national forest. It runs from about 15 miles west of Little Rock, out about near Pinnacle Mountain, to about 65 miles into Oklahoma. This goes through Mena. It goes through a lot of other places. Diane and I have had an exceptional time learning about this area. I had been to Mena. I had customers in Mena. Didn't think a thing about it. Mena is barely 100 years old, and it was literally, and this is no exaggeration, Mena, Arkansas, or Queen Wilhelmina, Arkansas area, was literally a railroad town. There was nothing there before the railroad came through, and the railroad came through to harvest the timber and go on through. And they're actually, ironically, I think it was they were trying to get from Tulsa or Oklahoma City down to Houston, and they were just it was a means to an end. It was trying to get them somewhere, if you know what I mean. Once again, beautiful bridges, beautiful creeks. We probably need to come back in the fall. Like I say, this was September the 21st. Just a beautiful area, and hey, I know I've got a cool pop and a ham sandwich waiting on me just around the corner, so to speak. Now, I think we may be about to give away some of the magic. Right there at that little place, yeah, we stopped, let the beautiful Teresa Diane out. She filmed me driving over the bridge. We did that a couple of times. That's called B-roll, remember? Yeah, the secret of how we get there and what we do. Those of you that are watching and listening, I really can't thank you enough. I'm glad you find this interesting. We are on MFS 114, probably about... looking at the timeline, I'm guessing we're maybe 4 or 5 miles northwest of the boat launch that we talk about. Still just an absolutely beautiful area. Great drive. It's gravel, okay, yeah, but you know, there's times, this was one of them, it had rained just a couple of days before, and the dust was very, very, very minimal. And there's actually a science to this. They actually choose the rock that they put down. They choose the particle that the rock will break down into so it doesn't get super powdery, dusty. Yeah. Because the Forest Service has to look at all these things, because when they put down gravel like this, when it rains, some of that gravel, some of that dust, some of that material runs off into the creeks as silt, can silt up the creeks. Next thing you know, you don't have that beautiful little snail darter that's unique to the Ozarks or unique to the Ouachitas. It's one of those kind of things. Again, we're back on the thinner points of the pine trees here, as you can tell. It's a thinner area, and our Forest Service has obviously taken pines to clear that down. We're coming right on up to it. The hill you were seeing there just right before we turned here, that hill actually has the Crystal Vista Pinnacle that we're going to do another show on very soon. That pinnacle, very difficult to get to. You will not get there in a regular car. The last half mile, 3/4 of a mile, Diane and I took her Lexus out there about 4 or 5 years ago, got up to the point where we thought we could get up to the top, turned and made it around 3 really big ruts and went, yeah, we're going to walk the rest of the way to the top. Well, here with the Toyota FJ, we were able to drive all the way to the top of the Crystal Ridge Summit, the Crystal Pinnacle, I should say. And the view from there is just phenomenal. Beautiful view, beautiful area. And typically, I mean, we went there on a Sunday evening and it was absolutely vacant. Not one soul. And you don't know till you get to the very top of the mountain if there's anybody there on the end of that dead-end road or not. No way of telling. No way whatsoever. Recap real quick. Dennis Simpson here, Hot Springs Village Venues from Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. We do a couple of different kind of shows. We tell you about the venues, things going on, bands, things like that, bars and restaurants and good food and events, pickleball, that kind of thing. But also, we kind of do a travel show where we show you things about an hour from the village. Right now, we're probably no more than 10 or 15 miles, as the crow would fly, from probably Balboa and Ponce golf courses in the middle center part of the golf course, the middle center part of the Hot Springs Village. To recap also, Hot Springs Village, the world's largest gated community, world's largest singularly gated community. There are other places in Xinjiang, China, where they have several developments together, and they call them gated, and they call them the same place. But 26,083 acres of absolute awesome here in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. 29 miles of hiking trails, 9 golf courses, 11 lakes, and about 18,000 of some of the sweetest people you'll find. People always ask, what are the POA dues? If you have a lot, just an individual property that doesn't have a home on it, it's about $53 a month. If you have a home site, it is about $110. And now we've just turned and we're coming down the bumpy path on the boat ramp. And this is one of the really things. The main road to the boat ramp, it's okay. You could probably pull a pontoon boat down here if you wanted. Pulling anything other than a john boat down this little ditch, you might have some problems. And I can imagine 40, 50 years ago, my Uncle William, Bill Hicks from Hensley, Arkansas, or East End, Arkansas, taking his little Land Rover down this way, his old Jeep, and driving it all the way from Chattanooga, Tennessee, with a little 10-foot, 12-foot john boat on the back of it, and coming down this little path. He was quite the guy. He actually raced horses. As I'm sitting here recording this in our home on Lake DeSoto, I have his Oaklawn Jockey Club season guest pass in my hand, number 47467, not transferable, from 1965. He was an incredible, indomitable man that loved to come down here and fish all the time, and just a remarkable gentleman. He was in the Merchant Marines during the war, and I think he lived to 94, 95, took vitamins all the time, would get up, he would, in his early 90s, he would get in his little Nissan Sentra, and he would drive it from Chattanooga, Tennessee to Benton, Arkansas to meet my mother and dad. And he would do that in one stint. And she'd get up in the morning, drive from Chattanooga to Little Rock, and spend the night at Mom and Dad, in Little Rock and Benton with Mom and Dad. This is the road that you saw that we walked with Diana and myself, where we were just taking the little leisurely discussion, and there are things. Look like an outhouse here, but it's like a pump house building. And once again, absolutely beautiful area. I do recommend at least a SUV for this particular area. You could probably do it pretty easy in an SUV, but a sedan or a sports car, like some idiot I know has occasionally done, would be a bad idea. But we're just about up to the opening. When Diane and I came up here to the opening, there was a whole group of Jeeps on the right-hand side, probably 5 or 6, and it looked like they had stopped to have lunch. Which is, you can't blame them. It's a perfect area. And then when we walked this area, and we're walking down the ground, I looked down and there was a bolt just in the middle of the road. And Diane said, "Oops, Jeep left one of their parts." Yeah, she can be mean. She's not mean. She's just funny. What an exceptional lady, and I certainly love her. By the way, I want y'all to show some love for Teresa Diane, if you would. She was so nervous. We've done these for years. I haven't put them on YouTube, but for years, she would never even comment. She wouldn't say a word on tape. I would have the camera running, and she'd go, "Shh, don't say anything, don't say anything." And I'm like, "Honey, it's just us." Well, nowadays it's not just us, but she has come a tremendous distance, and I didn't ask y'all to encourage her. If you like seeing her in the show, please say hi. On the right-hand side here, there's a little sign billboard there, and that sign actually has a grid in front of it that says, no trash or whatever, you'll be fined $8 or something like that. Reminiscent of the fact that this probably was made about 50 or 60 years ago. But once again, this is a beautiful, pristine area. This is a Sunday afternoon. You can see the Jeeps over on the right-hand side here. And they're just packing up and getting ready to leave together, because if one of them breaks down, okay, that's a joke. But Here we go across the bridge. And by the way, that bridge is regularly covered in water. During the fall and spring, it'll be 2 and 3 feet underwater. So this is late at night. We've done all our rat killing. We've run around. I've given you the highlight reel before we actually started the show. And we're just going to drive home through the darkness here a little. And I didn't know how well the camera would do. Once again, the camera is not on the hood of the car. It's on the roof of the car now. So if I get pretty close to some branches, you'll understand what's going on. But it's twilight-ish. It's nice. It's a beautiful area. Did you notice how many people we've seen? Yeah. Answer equals 0. Nobody. Nobody, 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 nobody. Once again, thank y'all for watching and listening to Hot Springs Village Venues. I want to remind you, D&D Village Properties actually has rentals on beautiful Lake DeSoto, and we will be happy to let you have any accommodations here. We have hot tubs, kayaks. They're pet friendly. They're all waterfront. Diane and I did this about coming up on 10 years ago now that I think about it. We realized that when you want to stay at a lakefront property or a waterfront property, you don't want to walk in and walk around the kitchen and kind of go through a door and kind of go back out on the patio. You want to walk in the door and look at the lake. That's what we do. Every one of our units, you walk in the door, you're looking at water. And we feel that's how it ought to be. If you want to come stay at a lakefront property, that's ddvillageproperty.com. We're at 501-350-0227. Or we're happy to help you find accommodations anywhere to get in the village. By the way, world's largest gated community. We talked about that. What does that gate get you? Why does it cost another $113 a month? Number one, we have our own private security force. We have our own private police. They are deputized in Garland and Saline County. We have our own fire service. We have our own ambulance. We have our own roads. We pay for everything inside of Hot Springs Village because Hot Springs Village is the world's largest private gated community, so we don't get any turnback funds. Well, what do we really get? We get some of the lowest crime in North America. Our rates have been reported as low as 13% of the national average, not 13% below the national average, not 87% of the national average, but 13% of the national average. We went 37 years without a homicide, and that homicide, as tragic as it was one senior citizen with dementia throwing an ashtray at his wife. Tell you how long the time ago it was. She threw it at her husband, hit him in the head, and he went unconscious and then unfortunately died the next day. Hardly a murder, just a tragic course of events, but it's just the reality of living in a older community in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. I'm going to shut up and let you enjoy the beautiful, beautiful lakeside water here in just a second, and thanks for joining.
The low voice?
Yeah, do the low voice. Do the dainty flower.
I'm a dainty flower.
Don't delay. Call Janae. Janae Cook, Taylor Realty, 501-617-9747. Whether you're buying, selling, or just considering. Oh, we don't need a realtor yet. Yes, you do. Don't delay. Call Janae. 501-617-9747. Call 501-922-9259. Joanna Horton at M-Force Capital. She can offer a complimentary financial evaluation planning session just for you and your needs. needs. Once again, 501-922-9259.
Hot Springs Village Venues is brought to you by KVRE at 92.9 and streaming worldwide on iHeartRadio. KVRE is your family-owned local hometown radio station, so be sure and tune in for live local programming, news, sports, and information every day at 92.9. HSV Radio. HSV Radio is heard every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. or streaming on any of the major platforms. Hot Springs Village Radio is an eclectic mix of music, motivation, great music history, and Saturday morning fun. Join us every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., 92.9. And brought to you by the Hot Springs Village Voice, Hot Springs Village only newspaper, also serving all of Saline and Garland County. Your local newspaper for local events. No one else has more local news than the Hot Springs Village Voice about the Hot Springs Village area. Sign up today at hsvvoice.com or call 501-623-6397. Again, that's 501-623-6397. Located at 3576 North Highway 7 in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, just in front of Walmart. Brought to you by Gotta Go Vacations. www.gottagovacations.com. Troy Woods and Patrick Cunningham at 501-204-4805 can help you with any of your travel needs. Patrick and Troy have been airline stewards for decades, and their experience and their travel can serve you well. GottaGoVacations.com, again, that's GottaGoVacations.com, can help you book the perfect tour for you. Whether it's a riverboat cruise up the Mississippi or the Rhine, these guys are who you need to call. 501-204-4805. Troy or Patrick, 501-204-4805. GottaGoVacations.com. D&D Village Properties. Hot Springs Village only short-term rental with over 2,100 five-star reviews. All properties are lakefront. They include complimentary kayaks, hot tub, pet-friendly, and a stunning view of the lake. Visit DD Village Prop today for your vacation getaway.